Going on? It has been a minute. I just gonna have to do these when I can. I really thought when I started this I could do, 1 to 2 a week easy, but that's trying to fit this in with life is very difficult. I was in Dallas last week. My wife went with me. I was hoping to get a minute to. I don't even think I posted a short video for that, but went home for a day or two and caught up on the mowing and then headed here to San Diego and got here yesterday. Done my workout and got settled in. That was pretty much the whole time I had, and then went through my normal routine of work and working out today. And I actually have a couple hours here, and the way the time zone is, I feel like I should go to bed, but it's still daylight outside, so take advantage of having this minute to try to create one of these videos. I am also back on the mic, so I did read your comments, and I'll try to keep doing that, especially when I do the long form. The short ones, I just do them randomly whenever I think about it, and it's not too weird. I know. I mean, I don't even know why I worry about it, because it's pretty well, excuse me, pretty well everybody is glued to their phones and talking. But there is something odd about just like videoing yourself and talking to yourself in public. That doesn't feel right to me. I don't know that it should either, but I'm all right public speaking, especially. I think I've talked about this before, but having some interaction helps a lot. That's really what I'm hoping to get to here, is get enough of you guys interested in what the next step's going to be. And I remember, I think I got to have 150 or 100 subscribers to be eligible to go live, and then I think it'd be cool to use it in that fashion and see, comments and react to that in real time. So to apologize about my voice again, I guess I'm a little more tired than I thought I would be. But I actually also had to go back and watch a little bit of the last video just to remember where I was at. Not that none of this is going to be that scripted or cohesive. It doesn't need to be. Like I said, if we get through the who I was portion this year, especially at this rate, I think be lucky, and that'll set a good foundation. I'm really wanting to, with some of the events that's been going on, there's a lot to talk about, like what. So I've got the who I was, who I am, and who I want to be. The who I am is like loaded with stuff right now. I could probably just talk about that, but I feel like it's putting the cart before the horse, and nobody really knows why I am what I am. But that stems from who I was. Give me just a second here. I'm in a Hampton Inn this time, and I normally don't talk about that stuff, but I normally stay in a Hilton Garden Inn when available. Just like their layout and consistency. And I know I haven't talked about why I travel so much, and I'm not going to until the end segments. I don't want to disclose who I work for and all that, just in case this does go out and I'm not going to be associated with any of my life's events to my job until the right time. So that's the biggest cliffhanger, probably. That and the who I want to be, really turns into more than a job. It's more of an evolution of being a person. I still don't want to classify myself as a good person yet, but definitely striving to change in that direction. Anyway, let's try to pick up. I know the last video I was talking toward the end of elementary, and for some reason just big gaps in time there, and so we'd start kind of in middle school this video. And I have nothing prepared. Probably should write down a few points to keep me from rambling too bad. But something I remember straight out of the gate in middle school, I kind of know I was really chunky. Had a tremendous amount of acne going on. Super self-conscious. That's probably when I, came into that consciousness. I don't know if that was, puberty or what, but just all the factors, that come along with just not being comfortable. Like I was like in this, heightened state of that. Zero confidence. I liked playing baseball. That was through elementary. I didn't mention that. From a sport perspective, I liked playing baseball. Tried football. I remember that. I think that was the first year of middle school I tried football. I don't know that I disliked it, but I wasn't really good enough at it. Something I didn't do growing up. So pretty well was just somebody to practice on during practices, and would only get put in a game for the pity party or we're up 10 million or down 10 million type thing. So I only did that for 1 year. I did take, I guess since we're on a sport theme, I did take Taekwondo around that age. Probably more like toward the end of toward the end of middle school, but I enjoyed that. That probably taught me more about like self-discipline and coordination, sport type stuff than anything. That was a good experience. Well, let's see. So I'm, in middle school, shy as I can be. Like I said, overweight, full acne. Just didn't really, and I also didn't have a clique. I was not a clique type person. I don't know if I've told anybody where I'm from. So if anybody's watching this, that would be a great comment. Especially, I noticed I've got 10 subscribers. Thank you. So anybody that's watched all the other videos, give me a comment. I'm fixing to tell you where I'm from, but tell me if I've already done that or not, because I think 5% battery, turn power on. That's gonna be fun because I've got this mic. All right, we'll have to try something here to keep us from dying. I gotta keep you up elevated too, because I am in my underwear. So here we go. I guess the audio quality is going to suffer, but it's either that or this video is trash. So I'm taking the mic out right now. And plugging us up, so we got some juice. And yeah, we'll just have to deal with the audio. Hopefully it won't be too bad. I'll try to aim my voice at the camera for the rest of the time here. So give me a comment on that too. Tell me when right now when I took the mic off, tell me how bad, if the quality got bad. Apologize. I thought my 10% would last the video, but it must be draining pretty fast. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was fixing to tell you where I'm from, because I think that gives us some context for some of the things I'll be talking about coming up. But I do want to comment, because my brain is all jacked up and I can't remember what I say and what I don't. So tell me if I've told you this before or not. Anyway, I'm Western North Carolina, Appalachian Mountains, whatever. I'm very aware I've got an accent. And so going back to the clique thing, in our area, the cliques were always like let's say jocks. I wouldn't call the jocks like athletic type people. I'd just say they were the ones that kind of clicked together and were the cool athletic. And then you had the sport type people that were normal. You had I guess the uppity crowd, the people that thought that kind of looked down their nose at you, and wasn't a lot of those in our area, but enough to have a clique anyway. Yeah, and like I guess hip hop was getting big or whatever, so you had that kind of crowd that, we were all, it was prominently white, so you call it like the wigger type clique or whatever. Probably a bad word, but that's what we called it back in the day. Then you had nerds or just smart, people that stuck to their business about school and didn't really interact outside of that. That was probably the clique I should have got with, but then obviously in our area the redneck is kind of the most populated one, and I guess I got lumped into that. I always called myself a rebel, and what I mean by that is I didn't really click up too much with the whole mass of the rednecks. I had a few pockets of those that I would interact with, and so I didn't really feel like I truly belonged anywhere, to be honest. That's why I always kind of classified myself as a rebel. But if I had to walk to the side of the room of what I identified with, it'd be the redneck. And I think most people would have said that about me too. But in middle school it was it wasn't as don't know if it was ever cool, but it definitely was not as cool in middle school to be that. And I was also really weird. I guess I skipped a click. You got the goth. I mean, we had our whatever version of that was back then. I was almost I was kind of like part goth, part nerd, part redneck. And then, like I said, I classified myself as a rebel, so I felt like a mixture of everything. And it kind of comes back to I never felt like I belonged. I didn't want to hang out with one of them all the time. I had my friends. I think I already talked about Nick. He, good close friend. Hang out with him all the time. My cousin Jody. But that's that's friendship. That's not like clique. So anyway, that's kind of what it was. I remember specifically I had this long fake silver necklace with like a claw that held I guess some kind of marble, looked like like a ball. I don't even know what that was about. I'd had that, and I'd wear like rebel flag t-shirts and had some kind of weird hair come down, almost like bangs. That was odd for me. But I still owe you guys pictures. I'll remember saying I'd upload. I will, I'll upload different stages of pictures at some point when I figure out how to do it. Because I think it'll tie into these, day 1, 2, 3 stories. Let's see. I guess I was fixing to talk about maybe girls a little bit, so I'm going to back us back up into elementary because I didn't talk about this one, and the memory just hit me. And it's the end of the 6th grade. Oh, these are good, by the way. Strawberry Liquid Death. Very good. It's probably my favorite one. So I remember this, and I'll continue using first names. I don't think that gives anything away. This girl, Ravonda. Yeah, pretty girl. I mean, hell, we're 6th grade. None of us know anything about anything back then. I'm sure 6th graders now are like full blown. But anyway, there were dating type people, so you start thinking like that. All I remembered, I don't know if it was a note or a conversation or whatever, but we were in class and I asked her if she'd be my girlfriend or whatever, and she said, I don't know if it was buy my lunch or give me your lunch money, something to do with lunch. And I did that, and she was my girlfriend for the day, from lunch to the end of the day, and then it was over. And I just find that hilarious, especially with some of the things I will be telling you. But that was probably my first interaction with trying to hook up with, trying to have a girlfriend. It was very odd and strange. All right, so back in middle school, and I should say all through, especially through elementary, I was actually fairly gifted at academics, especially in math and English for some reason. I hated English, but I always scored very high, and so I had that AP program stuff back then, and they put me in AP math and English. I was taking like calculus and trigonometry, and well, trig probably wasn't until high school, but I was taking advanced algebra and stuff of that nature in middle school. So like tough stuff. And then that kind of also sets you up with the type of people you're around too. And then because you're part of the classified redneck, most of those are not in the AP classes. I don't know. That's probably a little judgmental, but it's also true, or at least it was in my life, that I was definitely, again, this all kind of coincides with just being the odd man out. Like, I was definitely a sore thumb in the AP class. So I stood out, didn't look or act the part that the rest of the class would, but I could always do the work well. And I remember hardly ever having homework. I was known, like, especially in math, the way the teachers would typically do it is they would assign an even or odd, or they'd switch it up to kind of keep you off your game. So what I would do during class is just do all the problems for whatever we were working on, or whatever they assigned. I was already done. I didn't have homework, so that meant I was not paying like strict attention to the lesson. So just, I guess, through osmosis and self-deduction, I could pick that kind of stuff up. Especially in that time frame in my life, I was like a sponge. And later we'll get into how stupid I feel now and how all that changed. But through that development phase, I could learn. I could pick things up quick. I could just do. I mean, I didn't even have to. A lot of things I didn't have to learn. I just kind of would see it and know for some reason, which I guess that's some kind of gift. I don't know. As far as me and my friend would always like take things apart, repair things. No training on anything, just figure things out. And those things I would enjoy too. Another memory that's popping up is like field day, where you're out running and doing all the stuff we used to have to. I think I heard that I don't do that anymore, which is crazy. Although at the time, I wish they wouldn't do it, because I couldn't run. I couldn't, all the things I sucked at, and I always felt like I was second best at everything. But hey, good or bad, having some of that backbone probably has helped me through a lot of this other stuff. Because things tend to suck sometimes, and you still have to go do it, right? Can't jump too far ahead, because I mean that gets into who I am now, but the backbone pieces are these things, dealing with being picked last for a team, or feeling picked on in terms of maybe dodgeball or something like that. I'm sure people can relate in their own way to what I'm saying, but I guess the theme of what I'm saying is I definitely continually felt like the odd person out. It probably started in elementary, as I started kind of separating from the mass with the AP stuff, and then in middle school with my Wade and Acme and awkwardness, shyness, whatever. I just felt like I was on an island. Probably I got into some dark places too. Hilarious. This probably should be the last story segment here. So again, grew up in the church, right? Daddy, very pointed in making us go to church. But so my sister is 5 years older than I am. So I'm in middle school, she's in high school. She's getting into different things, more that age group things. And I remember explicitly like her listening to Metallica and being with a boyfriend she had at the time, and me just being like a tattletale on it. And that's, telling on her mom and daddy and getting her in trouble and all that. And I told her I didn't want to ride with her if she was going to listen to Metallica. And it's hilarious because really by the time I got into middle school and was doing the whatever redneck goth version, you talk about like getting into the dark places. Metallica was like the light place. So I find that funny that I was being judgmental to her, and then if I could have stepped out of my own shell and looked at myself, I was I took it to another level. So that's probably a good place to stop, because that gets into the darker, or the beginning of the darker stuff, and I've already kind of painted the picture. You feel isolated, you feel alone, like socially I was extremely weird, and that also may be why I'm like different now. I'll say I'm different now. I'm not always comfortable, but I've kind of got over it. I don't know if you guys have ever done like a personality matrix assessment where I work, and I will not say where, but we've had to do diversity matrices, and are you a driver, analytical, whatever. But years ago I was always like driver / analytical. I was always pegged like that year over year, and that was because I was always head down and get the job done. And over time I've turned more into like amiable and expressive, and I don't know how you change your being over time without but I'm still passionate, still get my head down, but I'm extremely vocal about it now. Anyway, I'm skipping way ahead, and I shouldn't. But that'll be a good stopping point for us, for kind of establish some of the beginnings of the dark matter that's in here, and the kind of the basis of non-Christian thinking and understanding, or not understanding, but beliefs, or whatever the case may be. We can talk more about that in the next one. So again, I ask you to comment a couple of different things in this one. I don't know how to make this stuff go bigger. Appreciate the ones that are already viewing it or sharing, subscribing, but anything you guys know that can help grow it. Again, I'll keep doing this. I'm committed to the cause. I want to go through this even just for myself. If it never turns into nothing, I think, again, I'll reiterate, I think when we get into the the tail end of who I am and then the beginning of who I want to be, I think it's going to get really, really cool and interesting for all of us, especially, for me, me continuing to discover new things. And by then it'll be, past is the past. Right now we're just discovering what the past is, and there's a lot more to discover, and that's why I said it's going to take a while. But everyone has a past. I just want you to. I think you have to know that about me to ever appreciate any of the decision making I do now, and how I navigate life now. So, without that background, I'm just another, crazy person on this planet. But maybe with the background, the fundamentals, it'll work. But again, anything you guys can do to socialize it. Appreciate any of the comments, because that makes me feel like there's some interactions. If my audio just completely sucks this time, then hey, maybe I shouldn't do these without the mic at all. If it's bearable, then this keeps me from having to start over, which, currently finding time to do this at all is challenging, let alone starting over. That last one I did in Germany, I even made comments about that. I had started on it and went pretty good ways. I think I said 2 or 3 minutes. But 2 or 3 minutes doing this, and then having to start over, you're like, I don't want to do that again. Especially trying to remember the talking points. But I'm starting to feel comfortable talking to you guys. Like, I got 10 subscribers. It's great. I see views at least on the short form videos go to, and I can't rhyme or reason it. Sometimes it's 100 and sometimes it's 1,500. But several hundred people are seeing those, and I'm trying to connect these. So maybe it'll grow over time. We'll get into that. Maybe we'll just do these live. Staying in the, who I was. I think that'd be great to have some, hey, did you ever go through this type commentary, because that may, pull something out of me that I won't naturally just talk about. But all right, I won't keep you any longer. Appreciate having the opportunity to try this out. Like, subscribe, share, whatever it takes. Let's get it to where we can go live and then keep building it from there, and build to the crescendo of the who I want to be. And by that point, I want other people along, because I think we'll all enjoy that, and I think by then it should help others. I kind of wish I had knowledge that a shy, fat kid from the mountains could make it without, could make it to the other side of some of the challenges that I faced. And I know everybody's got their own challenges, but to hear it honest and open, I'm going to get it out there. That's at one point when I introduce my wife, that'll be fun, because and I think it'll be, again, very later on, but she'll tell you that, like, the first thing I did, we stayed up all night and I just dumped all kinds of crazy facts on her, and I was like, hell, I'm not going into this hiding anything. There's going to be no skeletons in my closet. So that's a indicator that, hey, I'm not perfect. Actually, I'm far from it in a lot of things that should be embarrassing. But hey, 45 years old, it's life. Trying to do a little better now. That's all I can do. And if me telling you a couple of my crazy things that didn't help me keeps you from doing that, keeps you from having to learn it the way I learned it, that might be a reward enough for doing this. So, all right, guys, it is finally dark outside. I'm gonna try to chill out for a minute, go to bed, and being back in Cincinnati next week, so maybe I'll find another spot of time to do another one of these next week. But appreciate you. See you.